Hey, I'm Adam Thompson. I'm a consultant in strategy, organisational design and leadership. My business is Thompson Organisations. Today I'm going to go through how you know who you need to have in the room. Let's get right into it. A lot of the work I do with clients is workshops on making their organisations or work systems work better.
Before I go though, promise me you'll remember one thing, yeah? Just remember.
And we always get to the point where we say, right, all sounds great, now who do we need to invite? That's where I lean on the work of Ichak Adizes, because as he always does, he's got a simple and powerful way to cut through. And if you don't know the work of Ichak Adizes, well known for his managerial roles and business life cycle, you need to do a quick bit of reading. Read this book, or this book, or this book. They're all brilliant and they'll give you insight. I use the stuff all the time to help my clients understand what they're looking at. Now, let's get on with it. What do we need to have in the room? Well, if we want to get something done, we of course need to start with the people who have the authority over the thing we're trying to change. If we're trying to change the call center, we need to make sure we've got the call center manager in. Pretty obvious stuff. But in the real world, it's not just the people who have the authority that make a difference. We also need to work out who has the power in the situation, who has the ability to make or break any changes we're talking about. Adizes uses the example of you can have the greatest strategy in the world in your shoe company, but if someone on the front line simply removes one shoe from every second box, your strategy is worth nothing. That is power. And not just authority and power, we also need to know who has influence in the situation. So they might not be able to do something directly, but those with authority, or particularly those with power, will listen to what they have to say. If we can get authority, power and influence in the room, and if we can get it to coalesce, in other words, we can coalesce or join together or make as one the authority, power and influence, which gives us CAPI.
First, I made the milk curdle. And then I drained the liquid, and when the liquid was drained, it all coalesced into a piece of cheese.
If we can get that to happen, then we have every chance of the decision we make in the room actually being implemented. Now, a couple of practicalities. What if the people don't want to show up in the room? Adizes calls that the pre-problem. In other words, instead of ignoring that and pretending it's not happening, let's go and have the discussions with the person to find out what's going on in order to get them to the room. Or maybe you've got someone who's going to show up in the room, but past history suggests they don't show up as a happy player, ready to try to contribute.
Mr. Reynolds, what are you doing?
Yeah, I found this backstage, oversized hat. Funny.
No, it's not.
Sure it is. It's funny. It's funny because it's bigger than a normal hat.
I see that. Get back to your podium.
Again, we need to have some discussions about that. Those discussions can be tricky, and that's for a video another time. But the point for now is we have to have those discussions. How many people does that mean we need to have in the room? Well, we can obviously start to get up a very large number of people, and there's sometimes when we do need to do a bit of all in. Sometimes I need to run large group process to get things done. But if you need to have a rule of thumb, let's say we've got a group that has the power. Let's talk about a group of frontline people who ultimately, if they think the plan is rubbish, they're simply not going to do it very well. We need to make sure there's someone in the room that group that has the power would say, well, if that person's in the room, I'm cool with what comes out. Someone who is trusted, who can represent the group, is who we need to have in the room. It doesn't matter if you don't like them very much yourself. If the group that has the power or the group that can influence trusts that person, then they need to be in the room. Because remember, people who aren't involved in any decisions, the best they'll do is phone it in.
Tell us what you know. Denise? Dennis. Dennis?
The worst they'll do is make sure it doesn't work. Put in the effort to get CAPI into the room in terms of the pre-problems, then in terms of being able to skillfully facilitate and run sessions to coalesce the authority, power and influence, and you'll be able to see the decisions you make in the room not only be better, but actually get implemented, which is what we're always trying to do. That's all for now. My business is Thompson Organisations. I help organisations work better with things like this. You can read this instead of watch it at my blog, zenorganisations.com. Subscribers also get the next video straight to their inbox. Usual socials work fine as well if you want to get in touch with me there. Otherwise, see you next time.